Today on iDocument, the best practices and product overview. If you guys do have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to type them and we will address them during the question and answer session at the end. Outside of that, this will be recorded, so you can also watch the recording on our website later today. But I'm going to turn it over to Doug.
Thanks, Zach. And we'll also be doing this again tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. So if you're a night owl or if you happen to be in Asia Pacific, you can just check in then, which might be a better time. So if you're getting ready to go to bed, that is. Okay, so why are you here? Well, we invited all of our clients, and those are clients that own iMerge, our Dupe merging tool, iEmail, our Outlook integration with iMIS, iMove, our national change of address product, meeting closer for closing events and not losing any detail, freight rate importer, bringing in freight rates if you're doing orders in iMIS and they're based on UPS or FedEx or USPS freight charges. The easiest to use import tool out there, iImport, which got some exciting stuff coming on with that product in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned. You'll be getting emailed on those. iMap, our geolocation web service tool, our activity importer product, our online donations, page filter. If you're using Rise or Public View and need to change something that's not changeable, you can do it with page filter. Profile editor, our high-end profile maintenance tool, fundraising made easy, and of course iDocument. So this webinar really is for iDocument users. It does apply to everyone, but we want to show you some interesting things about iDocument that you may not have known. We're going to cover the history of iDocument, why and how we created it, a day in the life of using iDocument, really, which is what we're looking to for how we see people using the product, and we're always looking for new feedback. Would love to hear creative ways you're using the product so we can share what's new in the product, how you can get the latest version, how you can get help, and any Q&A if we have some time for it. I think we're blocked for 30 minutes and try and get you out about 30. I think we might go about 5 over on this, depending how fast I talk. So we've got over 24 organizations using iDocument, and that's in about 1.5 years. So it's a fast-growing product, what we think is filling a niche that was sort of left alone here. Started on 1.0 way back when. It was a little internal tool for CSI for documenting user-defined windows, and today we're on 2.11, and all of the enhancements we've made really are based on your feedback. So thank you so much. We couldn't have done it without you. Really appreciate it. So why'd we create it? Well, really what we were finding, especially as we started working with a new iMIS client or even converted a client to iMIS, there was just no repository for all the iMIS setup information. People sometimes say, well, what is setup? Well, that's your activities, your user-defined windows. How about business objects, IQAs, reporting, tables, views, store procedures, functions, job. Everything that's living and breathing in an iMIS database, really, there's just no way to document it. And so that was something that we figured was a pretty important niche to fill. And as I said, originally we had an internal tool that just did user-defined windows and activities, and iDocument is taking that tool and just expanding it. As we know, or as you know as an iMIS user, that data is changing on a regular basis. You're always adding new reports or IQAs or your new SQL jobs. And it's always changing, so that Word document you might have out there that you did spend a couple hours on last year, it's out of date already because your iMIS is a living, breathing thing and always morphing into something new. The other issue is it tends to be that there's just one person that might be the manager of the documentation at your place. And really, we want to open it up so that anybody can create documentation for iMIS or get the documentation. It should be available to everyone. On that note, once we make the documentation, is it in my staff drive or is it somewhere on our intranet or something like that? It should be readily accessible. And then, as you know, if you are the iMIS super guru at your organization, or if you happen to know who is that super guru, you know what happens when that person happens to leave and the new person comes on board and says, I don't understand why we have these stored procedures. I don't know why this field is being updated. It's just a mystery what's going on. And so wouldn't it be nice to have a document of all that fun stuff? So that's why we did it. And so, well, how did we do it? Well, as usual, we wanted to make a user installable product that documented iMIS. Pretty straightforward. And as I mentioned earlier, iMIS is activities, our user-defined windows, including the new panel editor windows in the staff view or member site using RISE. iMIS business objects, your intelligent query architect, IQAs, your reports, which still could be Crystal, if you will, in iMIS. And so that's all end user facing. What about the deep dive technical stuff? Well, that's the SQL side of things, right? We need to document tables, views, stored procedures, functions out there. Those are all really important things as well that need to be documented. They're hidden from many users, but they're important in your iMIS ecosystem, including SQL jobs as well. And we need to be able to filter these because there are a million stored procedures out there now, and you may only care about the ones that are custom to you. So what do? We create a searchable HTML document. It can also be PDF if you like. We store all this information. That document can be dropped anywhere you like, on your server, on your intranet, your wiki, or even right on the iMIS homepage. You could have all your documentation right there. So let's see some cool stuff here. I'm going to show you what we see some happening occasionally. Great example. I'm at a client, and I happen to be sitting here, and we pull up Doug Morris's record. One of the things they ask me, this is a new client, never worked with them before, and they say, you know, I don't understand, this date certified magically appears on certain records. And I say, well, what do you mean? Well, look up Michael's record. Notice he doesn't have a date certified, but Doug does, and we don't know. No one typed that date certified in. It's a mystery. So the great thing about iDocument is we can use its search features. So I can go out here and go, well, I don't know what that field's even called. So I'm going to type in certification, and I'm going to search my entire database. You can see all these fun things that iDocument has found. It's found the date certified. Well, there it is in name demo. That's cool. So I can go ahead and go right to that. And it tells me, all right, it's the initial certification date. Look at that. It's actually populated by CSI SP certification update, and it's a new field that wasn't in their old system. So as I mentioned early on, a lot of people used to use, or CSI, we use this as a data conversion tool because we'd be bringing in data from another system. So we've enhanced iDocument to make sure that we have this nice field out here called data conversion notes. So if you were to buy iDocument while you were still implementing iMIS, it can be a very powerful resource for your data mapping needs. So let's go back up to the certification. So that's pretty interesting. Let's jump right to that stored procedure because I'd like to know a little bit more about it. And I've jumped right to it. There it is. Pulls data from an external CEU transfer and updates iMIS certification. As you guys know, there's all sorts of fun things that your predecessors have done, and there are processes that happen in place that you may not even be aware of. This is a great way to see that, oh my gosh, that data is actually being transferred to us by an external system and being updated automatically. And it's done in our nightly jobs. Okay, well, that's pretty interesting. I can jump right over to our jobs here and take a look at our nightly jobs and go, hey, we got a serious issue here. Look at this. The jobs haven't run since June 24th. No wonder why we're not seeing that field update as much as we used to. So iDocument can allow you to look at things that you may not even have access to. You may not have access to know whether your jobs are running at night. You don't know. You don't know what's going on. And so this is an end user tool to be able to go and yell at someone and say, hey, we got a problem here, our nightly jobs, and by the way, the one that's out there only updates the certification data, but I can see it hasn't run in quite a while. When it did last run, it was successful, but we got a problem out here. So there's one way to look at iDocument in a daily kind of usage. So from not knowing anything to being able to identify how the field was updated, to be able to identify the stored procedure that updates it, and then to go all the way down to the job level. This is powerful stuff. That I know that when I'm at clients, I sometimes wish they had iDocument. It's hard to say, I wish you'd just buy this product because it would make my job easier. But it certainly can make anyone's job easier for something like that. So what I'd like to do now is just quickly go through some of iDocument that I think you already know. The first thing that I would do right off the bat is I might generate documentation. So even before you filled out all the great information about iDocument, I mean about your iMIS database, you can start by creating some documentation. And when you make your documentation using iDocument, you can create small little subsets or snippets if you like. I don't need to include everything in it. I may not want my SQL jobs in the documentation. I may not want my stored procedures. Maybe I do. Maybe I want my business objects or IQAs. Maybe I don't. So you can go out here, and then this is a very powerful thing. It says only items with metadata. That's a technical term for only items that I've told iDocument about. You could actually make a full comprehensive set, a documentation set by choosing all items here. And then I'm going to go out here and create PDF. You might want to change your header, you know, documentation by Doug or something like that, anything you might want to do. And then when I hit generate, it's got to go out there. If you're using an older version of iDocument, the newer ones are just a little slower because now we're peering into IQAs and business objects, which the developer Jake has been nice enough to say this may take some time. It wants to save it. We save it, and then it says, hey, how about opening it? Yeah, that sounds great. So now we open it, and I'm in my documentation. So I can jump right down to all the activities that I've identified in my iMIS setup. I can go to user windows. I can go to business objects. I can go to IQAs, reports. So there, it's jumped me right down to activities. These are all my activities that I've gone out here and defined using iDocument. The CUs. I can go right back to the top. Here's my user-defined windows. There's a panel editor window. Let's jump right down. Here's that name demo window. There's the date certified we were looking at before. It's a date time field, initial certification. Tells you a little bit about how it's populated and any data conversion notes. If there's a lookup table on any of these, it'll be identified. Right there, you can see that interest codes is a lookup table. And we've now moved those lookup tables all the way to the bottom of iDocument. So if I click on that, it'll take me right to the bottom and tell me what those are. So this, the PDF we create is all hyperlinks and whatnot. And so this is a great, and same thing with the HTML, great document to store anywhere. And now people can start jumping around and seeing everything that's out there. So there's the end user. That's the end result, right? My PDF, if you will. I showed you how to search as well. I thought it would be good to take you through what you probably already know. You know, when you're documenting, here's an activity. Any of these little I's mean that we have some information populated, some metadata, if you will. You can actually put information like, it doesn't have to be a stored procedure that populates it. Maybe it's staff, maybe it's Barbara in accounting or something like that. Our user-defined windows, if you're an iMIS guru, as you know, these things like sponsor, they actually relate down to a table and field. So this window may be called name demo, but it drops down to the name demo sponsor. Very important setting in recent versions of iDocument is the ability to synchronize user-defined window and table metadata. What that means is if I change information here, let's go to name demo. So I go sponsor, and it's populated by, let's just say, Zach. And I might do something else out here. Let's not even do populated by. Let's just say, who's their dues membership sponsor? Fill in always. Something like that. I can do that. And now, that's actually going to go all the way down to the table that I have documented in iDocument. So if we go and we now jump down to that table, name demo, and then we jump right on sponsor, you can see it's actually updated it right here. If I filled in Zach's name there, it would have populated as well. But basically, this allows my window in iMIS to be synced to my table. So that's pretty powerful because they are the same thing. I mentioned business objects. One of the cool things we've added recently is the ability to define business objects. So you might go in here and you might identify interesting things like CS contact. When should you be using that? It's going to have all the fields that are in that business object as well. Here's donations. I like what I did with CS event history. Only for closed meetings, not a true representation of actual meeting attendance. Use the custom object CS event attendance. By the way, that doesn't exist, but I would normally create that for a customer. So those are our business objects, and of course our IQAs. You know, IQAs are the foundation really of iMIS going forward, and one of the real challenges, of course, is to find out which IQAs you should be using, what data is in those IQAs, and how to find it. And so one of the cool things now is you can go out here and you can document your IQAs. And it'll tell you what columns are in there. You can tell it what that IQA actually does, filters that might exist on it, and then where it actually gets its data source. So this is all, you know, from iMIS. It's all available. It's just not very searchable. And so we've added the ability to document now and search that. If you are still using reports, Crystal reports in iMIS, and I know most of our clients still are. I mean, it's just hard to get rid of so many legacy reports. You can actually go out here and document all of your reports that are that you're running. And this is great. If you noticed in my documentation that I created, it actually told me what those reports were used for, and great sort of thing if someone says, hey, I need to know, I'm new in accounting, what reports do I run monthly? You can go ahead and document all of those. And then down to the database level, of course. The tables, which I showed you, any custom views. The stored procedures, notice that all the stored procedures here all start with CSI. And once again, that's because I set that up in my settings. I said, just show me the ones that start with CSI. So you can filter all of these. So the first time you go to use iDocument can be a little crazy. And this allows me to filter down those tables. Last but not least, SQL functions, if you're into that kind of stuff. And then we talked about the jobs. I love the jobs primarily because, as I said, it allows a non-SQL administrator to peer into what's going on, which can be very powerful, especially you know, if you just can't understand how that data is being updated or why it's not being updated. So that's iDocument in a nutshell. Let's see what else we got here. So what have we added? If you're an early user of iDocument last year, as you see that we've added that searchability, and that was added, believe it or not, because right off the bat I saw iDocument was great, but I hated to have to go in to generate documentation in order to search. So I went back to the team and I said, I want to use this as a live working tool when I'm working with iMIS. I think I need a searchability. So although iDocument is designed to create a PDF or HTML, very powerful from the searching aspect. We now can export to PDF. It used to be only HTML. The output, all those lookup tables used to make the documentation really crazy. So if you just wanted to look at one of your windows and it happened to have, say 10 or 20 lookup tables, that made the documentation for your lookup table span, say, several pages. So we thought it was important to keep the tables and activities, if you will, concise. And as you saw when I clicked on interests, I went all the way to the bottom. So we're doing the lookups now at the bottom. We added that option that I showed you about synchronizing user-defined window and table-related notes. Something I didn't show you is it does work the opposite way as well. So if I happen to be in the table and I was updating name demo, and I might go in here and say, you know, populated by Zach, if I do something like that, it's going to go back to the user-defined window as well. And so you can see there it is. It's up there as well. So it works both ways. They're synchronized. I can make the change in either the window right here, the user window, or down in the table. And you saw that has to be enabled. It's not on by default. So make sure you go to options and turn that on if it's something you want. We're lacking the description of the activity. You know, just we thought the code was good enough, but some people said we'd like the full description, so we added that. This was an interesting thing that was something we never thought about. People said that we need the ability to copy and paste the read-only metadata values. They wanted the ability to copy this info, and that wasn't in there. But now I can actually do a copy on that. And so now I could go up here and maybe search on that and do all sorts of fun things like that. So that's an interesting little thing that we never thought someone would want to do. We got some feedback. Thank you. And now you can copy these this read-only information. We added a pre-populated list of any jobs that execute a particular stored procedure in the run by field. So what we're doing now is when we do find a stored procedure and you know, we know that that stored procedure is referenced in a job, we can now populate that automatically. We do that actually. So you can see this is actually pre-populated the run by, because we've already figured out that this stored procedure exists in a job called nightly jobs. So that's one of our focuses right now, to make iDocument automatically aware of your database, to figure out things so that you don't have to go and populate them. And that's where we've been getting a lot of requests. People want to just install it and have it know everything about your database. We're not there yet, but we're making strides. We added the job schedule description daily at 9 a.m. to the job detail areas. We added the IQA, as I said, to the output and the ability to document IQA, as well as business objects. And remote licensing, which now when you go and you fire up iDocument, it's going to call back to our service at CSI and automatically get your license key. The powerful thing there is, if you change your user count or anything like that, you normally, with our old products, you needed to get a new license key, even though your licensing really didn't change as far as we're concerned. You didn't owe us any more money. We just needed a new license key. All that's automatic now. And so that's something that we're pretty excited about. No more waiting for us, especially for the clients that are in other countries when, say, Asia Pacific, 2 a.m. when they want to run iDocument, and now they can't because they've upgraded iMIS. All that goes away now. So if you like what you see, you want to get our latest version. And basically, when you fire up iDocument, you'll see that our new login screen looks like this. And it'll tell you what version you're on. You can also go to Help About, and it'll tell you that version. If you don't see that you're on this version, you probably want to get it. Go to our website, log on. If you lost your log on, there's going to be a slide here telling you what to do. And that's just email sales, and we'll get you a fast response there. That you do still need a log on to download this. And you got that when you bought the product. If you lose it, just let us know. We'll send you the login again. Once you've logged on, go ahead and scroll down to our current product releases. You're going to see every product that you're current with support on for us. So if you don't see a product there, your support might have lapsed. And a cool thing that you'll see there is not only can you download it, but you can also get the latest documentation. So if you go out there and you say, hey, it looks like the version's different, I'd like to know what they added. Oh, this version added support for IQA and business objects. We're still on 15.1. We're not using that stuff yet. I don't need to upgrade right now, so I'm going to just continue using the current version of iDocument. So this is a great way to see what we've added and whatnot. I believe Zach also tweets out whenever we have a new release. I think we posted on our Facebook page, and we're going to be, I believe we're starting to email you now whenever we have a new release out as well. I like when I grab a file to, save it somewhere on my computer or network. I save it, in an erase me directory, so I know I can erase it. But you want to just save it somewhere out there. My erase me directory is full of, I'm not allowed to say bad words on a webinar, but it has stuff that I can erase at any time. I needed it. I'm often negligent about cleaning up things like the latest version of iDocument that I downloaded. So I have an erase me directory that I know I can erase at any time. When you're done, most important, if you get anything out of this webinar, that's when you're going to install one of our products. Please right mouse click on it and run as administrator. Very important. That's going to allow the product to automatically install correctly. A lot of times we get people who say, I'm already an administrator on my machine. I don't know why it's not working. Well, they thought they were an administrator. Turns out they weren't quite an administrator. And so you do want to install this as an administrator. And that's simple. Just right mouse click, run as administrator. It's normally user installable. In fact, you can install it. All you're going to really need is your iMIS username and password. However, those SQL jobs and statuses that I kept raving about, we do need to peer in and get access to them once. And so it's going to ask for your SA username and password, or an SA equivalent, or some SQL username and password that has access to see the jobs. So you may have to talk to your IT folks and say, either type this information in for me or give me a user that can see that job information. And then once that information has been entered, we don't need it anymore. It's going to be stored, and we can grab the job information after that. If everything I just said in the last minute made absolutely no sense, then don't worry about it. Your IT person or your solution provider can provide you with more information. If you get stuck, please read the manual. We have a full-time QA and documentation person on staff. Her name is Brooke. She's feisty, and she gets all bent out of shape when people submit support requests that she has spent hours and hours documenting and spending time on the manual. So I think our documentation is professional grade. We're always looking for feedback. Like I said, she spends a lot of time, so please read it. And if you are not sure, you can also download it from our website if you don't see it on your machine. You should see it automatically installed, so when you go and install iDocument or any of our products, you're going to see the user guide right there. If you're still stuck, email support@csiinc.com. Brooke, Ray, and Greg man support. The more information you can include, the best. So if you can give us everything, don't just say iDocument's not working for me. Give us a screenshot. Nothing's better than that. That's going to include all sorts of fun things. We'll probably even, if you give us a full screenshot, you can notice we get all sorts of information up here that's going to help us figure things out. So don't just screenshot the error. Give us the whole screenshot if you can, because that's going to be just speak a million words. And give us as much detail as you can. I ran iDocument. I updated information on 2 IQAs, and I'm generating documentation, and it's not showing that information. Give us just as much, overload us with information, because then we can get back to you. Support officially says they will get back to you within 2 business days. We run on Central Time in the U.S. They're running about 1 right now, but officially you should hear back from them within 2 business days. If you have, oh, by the way, and I will also mention, if you're really stuck, please submit it, and then you can follow up with a phone call if it's a pretty hot issue. Okay, as I said, we get all of our suggestions from you guys. So please, if you have an idea for an enhancement, email support@csiinc.com. I try and review those once a month. If they make sense, if other people have asked for them, then we're going to put them in the product, and we'll let you know about those. So every month or 2, I look at those, and we'll approve some. And if we don't, we'll tell you we're not doing it, and we'll tell you why. We are having more events like this. If you go to our webinars page, csiinc.com webinars, you'll find out more about them. We have had previous ones as well, same location. If you really like this webinar that you just saw today, as Zach said, it's going to be recorded, should be up later today. Right there is where you would get the information on not only our product, but the regular, this webinar, I'm sorry, this would be the demos of the product and whatnot. And then our webinars page is going to have this actual recording. So the first one has information on iDocument as well as a recorded overview demo. And then this webinar is on the webinars page. So I'm going to open up to any questions. Zach's going to read them off to me, and if we have any, we'll go from there.
Does it document triggers?
Does it document triggers? No, it does not document triggers. We've not had that request, but that's a good one.
Can you go back to the Crystal reports and show what it documents? We have a large go-to document all 900 of our Crystal reports.
Got it. So you would basically go down and find in each one of these. So you're going to have notes on it created, and then you can also use the data conversion. So here's an example of AR statements, monthly customer statements, use Apex Messenger to send. So if you have an idea for something better, we can certainly add that.
For the job section, if we use SQL Express, which we do not have jobs in, but instead use Windows Task Scheduler, will that section work?
It will not. That is using the SQL job functionality. So we do not have the ability to track Windows task schedule, especially because those would be on a completely different server. So we don't have that at that time. But you are giving me an idea for a miscellaneous section that customers could use all sorts of fun things for. So I've got triggers as a suggestion and a miscellaneous section where if you wanted to document things outside of your iMIS database, that might be a good place to do it as well. So that's a good idea.
That looks to be like all the questions.
That wasn't too bad.
No, I think you did a good job.
Want to, yeah, finally. There's my email address. Feel free to email me if you have any comments, things like that. Like I said, I did hear about triggers, and I did hear, well, I didn't hear about a miscellaneous, but that was a good idea that maybe create a miscellaneous for other information. So in the old Word documentation days, you could do whatever you wanted on another page. Maybe we do something like that, just free-form notes that could drop into the documentation. So that's a great idea. I like both those ideas. Thank you.
And here's one more, Doug. This is more of a suggestion, I guess, to put in the source or table information into the Crystal Reports documentation.
Ooh, so table info. And I just want to point out those reports that we're actually showing there are basically the reports that come out of iMIS. So that's a good idea, but I do want to point, they don't just have to be Crystal. I said Crystal, they could be the old Omnis ones or whatever, anything like that. So we're actually keying off of this, but I like the idea of a source because then if you were to modify that source, you could quickly find every report that uses it. And I will say that we are in discussions with another third-party app that would like to be part of the iDocument solution that will query your actual Crystal reports. So hopefully you'll hear something on that by the end of the year.
Cool. Well, that looks like it.
Thanks, everyone. I finished either 3 minutes late or 2 minutes early, depending on how you want to calculate that. So I appreciate your time. Like I said, we're going to do this again tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. It's primarily for our Asia Pacific fans, and but if you want to see it again, you're welcome to. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.